who's kind of your MVP of the offense thus far?
The MVP of the offense, that's a tough one. I think you look through there and probably I'd go with Brandon Ayuk would probably be the guy that I'd land on as the MVP if I was going to pick one for the offense. Uh, Beyond that, it's really tough. Jeff Wilson had a really good first half, but I wouldn't put him as the MVP. So it probably would go to Brandon Ayuk. Jimmy Garoppolo has been consistent enough. If he'd if he'd been playing a little bit better, he might even be in that category. But he's out of it, so I'm going to say Brandon Ayuk.
Cool. Yeah, I have that exact answer. I think Brandon Ayuk has been the MVP. I think it kind of boiled down to two players to me. Ayuk and then Aaron Banks. And that might be surprising, but to me, I think that key cog at left guard has been important. The only reason I go Ayuk over Banks is Banks obviously relies on the offensive line, which works as a unit. It's more so all five have to play well for the offensive line to be regarded as good. And so I think Ayuk's individual impact has been even more important. He's played a huge role for the 49ers and really a key reason why they've been able to move the ball. Jack just pointed out the points per game and points per drive statistics. Well, one statistic that's important is the amount of yards that the 49ers are able to generate. That's far better than, like, when you look at the amount of yards, you're surprised that the 49ers aren't able to score more points because they just have been inefficient at times at certain points on offense. And so to me, I think a big part of why they've been able to move the ball has been Brandon Ayuk. He's my offensive MVP as well this year.
Yeah, because Ayuk's been very good. He's on pace for his best year.
Yeah, definitely. What about most improved player on offense?
Most improved player on offense, I think you go with Aaron Banks just because we didn't see him last year, so he's the easy one to pick out. You would go in that direction, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment as well. Aaron Banks should be in the pick. Should be probably the pick itself. Everybody else, you kind of expected it, right? In the offensive group, you've seen some disappointments, obviously in the skill position group, but offensive line wise, he's that one guy that you're kind of looking to. Could be Jake Brendel as well, but I think Banks' impact has had a bigger magnitude. I think he's the pick as well for me.
There you go. I like that one.
Now, here's where Negative Nancy comes back.
Oh, no.
Who's been the disappointing player for you on the offense?
The most disappointing player on the offense, I think, just based off of where he was last year and what we've seen so far this year, I think the most disappointing player on the offense is Deebo Samuel.
Beautiful. That's who I had too. Okay.
I mean, you just look at where he was last year, right, and what he was able to accomplish and where he is right now. I think he's the most disappointing for sure.
Yeah, I think you have to go with that too. When you talk about it, Jack brought up the drops. He has a drop rate of 13% this year. I understand Jennings has a huge drop rate as well, but when you look at the role that he had last year, he was a multifaceted player because he could run the ball and he was a threat in the receiving game. Isn't really a threat in the rushing game anymore. Like I pointed out earlier, he's averaging under 4 yards per carry when you take away that one huge 51-yard run, and he hasn't been able to get separation that much. If you look at his separation statistics, yeah, they're fine, but that's because he's utilized a lot on these screen passes that are shorter in distance, so that's easier to get separation. When he's on the deeper routes, his separation numbers do decrease in general, and so his separation, in my opinion, has decreased. He hasn't been able to catch the ball consistently this year either, and so that drops his value as a receiver. And when that running back value hasn't been there this year because that's been neutralized, I think overall Deebo Samuel, compared to the amazing all-pro season that he had last year, I think he has in a way been disappointing for the 49ers.